Coming up next on Headline Humboldt, the California Faculty Association and the Teamsters Union are making final preparations for a strike at Cal Poly Humboldt starting on Monday. The university will remain open. Also, we speak with local attorney and keen political observer Eric Kirk about the upcoming local, state, and federal elections and how 2024 represents what could be a transformative moment for the American political system. Coming up now on Headline Humboldt. From the top of Humboldt Hill, this is Headline Humboldt. I'm James Falk. Thanks for joining us. It's with great trepidation and anxiety that I watch the county, state, and nation prepare for the 2024 elections. It seems like over the past 8 years, everyone with an opinion has loudly and repeatedly said that this time everything really is at stake. That's because it is. The local elections this March are pretty typical of what might be expected during any primary season. Supervisorial elections, a few measures that propose this or that change to local government, and the choosing of various candidates to vie for the various state and federal positions that will be open this election season. Our guest tonight, attorney Eric Kirk, will join us this evening to discuss these measures and candidates, helping our viewers understand what's at stake and what choices will matter in the long run. But as we go through the election process, we can spy over the horizon a federal presidential election that could actually determine whether this federal democratic system that has long been the pride of our country will actually last into the next several decades. On one hand, we have an incumbent president whose age and appearance have many worried that he's not fit for office. The nation as a whole is doing well by most measures, including the economy. But President Joe Biden has not been able to translate that stability and relative success into a mandate for re-election. On the other hand, we seem to have former President Donald Trump, who appears to be closing in on the Republican nomination, even as he remains under active investigation and prosecution on several fronts. Impeached twice and clearly responsible, in my mind, for an attempted coup, tens of millions of Americans have been willing to deny the evidence of their own senses and convince themselves that his bad reputation and many indictments are rather somehow the result of a broad and overarching liberal conspiracy to deceive the American people. Is this the state of American democracy? Have we all gotten so comfortable in our information bubbles that we're willing to accept such outlandish ideas rather than face up to the notion that the guy we supported may actually, in fact, be the criminal everyone claims he is? That's unfortunately an open question. So while this election may decide which of these septuagenarians or octogenarians, which one of them lives in the White House over the next 4 years, it will also determine once and for all whether the American electorate can come to its senses, or whether in the end we'll all deserve whatever calamity arises as a result of Trump's re-election. Because this time, we all absolutely know better. So will we in the end make better choices? We'll see. First, the news. Let's start with some good news. The Humboldt County Sheriff's Office this week reported the rescue of a young family and their cat after flooding threatened to wash them all away. Around 4 p.m. on January 13th, deputies were dispatched to the area of Felt Road near Myrtletown in Eureka to assist with an evacuation due to flooding. Once deputies arrived on scene, they were unable to access the residence due to rising water levels. Deputies then deployed a Zodiac raft and traversed the flooded roadway about 1 mile from the residence. When they finally reached the house, they discovered nearly 4 feet of water had flooded the area around the home and was still rising. Deputies were ultimately able to safely evacuate the occupants, which included 2 adults, a 1-month-old child, and a pet cat. None of the occupants were injured during the flooding or evacuation. But with more winter weather ahead, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office would like to remind the public to be continually vigilant around areas prone to flooding. If you're in need of emergency rescue, call 911 and do not attempt to leave unless it can be done so safely. Following up on a story we've been covering for some time, employees of Cal Poly Humboldt and all the other universities in the state university system are set to go on strike this coming Monday. The strike, led by the California Faculty Association and local Teamsters 2010, is scheduled initially to last for 5 days. Employees are demanding better pay, working conditions, and a decreased workload. The California Faculty Association represents counselors, librarians, lecturers, and professors in the CSU system, while the Teamsters Union represents skilled trade workers. Professor Ramona J.J. Bell said that employees are struggling under conditions that negatively impact the learning environment.
Well, I just got finished writing one of the picket line placards, and I put on there, I'd rather be in the classroom teaching than to be on this strike line. So do the right thing. And so some of the things that we're demanding, is a 12% pay raise to stay ahead of inflation. I've been here for over 10 years and haven't got any type of pay raise to reflect the inflation. Cal Poly Humboldt, we're one of the lowest paid universities in the CSU system. Also, we're demanding a pay equity, raising the floor for our lowest paid faculty. Last year, we had a position for a staff position for administrative coordinator support, and she was offered the job, but she also applied for the College of the Redwoods. And I asked her, why aren't you taking the job here with us? And she said, well, the College of the Redwoods, they pay more. We're also asking for manageable workloads that will allow for more student success and student support.
Cal Poly Humboldt this week announced that the university will remain open during the strike to help support students and employees. And they also advised those who are not on strike to be safe when crossing picket lines. Officials also said that people should report any abuse that they may receive at the hands of picketers, assuming there is any abuse. Bell said the recent decision by the CSU system to unilaterally invoke a contract extension with a mere 5% pay raise was an insult to employees.
It was an insult. It was an act of disrespect. You don't say that to managers, upper administration. I mean, year after year, upper administrators are getting paid. They are, and every year I get some type of news where so and so got another pay raise, so and so got another pay raise. Well, none of these are the faculty, none of these are staff, none of these are lecturers that are also considered faculty. You want people to come to the area. And so part of that begins with investing in your faculty who can get the job done.
The strike is set to start at 8 a.m. on Monday, and Kate will be there. Joining us now is attorney Eric Kirk. Thanks for joining us, Eric.
Thank you.
Every time we have an election, you're able to come on the show and give us all a little bit of expertise, and we appreciate that.
It's always fun.
Yeah. So we have an election coming up in March, and we have several supervisor seats that are up for the vote, and all of the incumbents have challengers.
All three of them, the first, second, and third, that being Mike Wilson and the first and second district supervisors, and they've got challengers. I haven't even learned all the names of the challengers.
No, I understand. But which one of these races strikes you as the most competitive or the most exciting from the distance?
I mean, it's hard to know. The Bushnell in the second district is facing a run against a Fortuna businesswoman and
Gina McClendon, and then also Brian D. Roberts,
who's out from Bloxburg and a grower and a cannabis grower. And I don't know enough about them to know what kind of challenge there is, but I do know there's a lot of dissatisfaction, particularly around cannabis policy, that Ms. Bushnell has lost some of her support.
Yeah, and that leads into our discussion, which we'll have in a minute, about Measure A, which is probably the hottest button issue on the local ballot. I'm interested in the first district. I had Rex Bone and Gordon Clatworthy on the show. I haven't spoken with Jerry Maguire, and I'm not quite sure how to get a hold of him. Mm-hmm. And that's Jerry Maguire, but not the Jerry Maguire Show Me the Money. Those are two different folks, just so everyone at home can be
somebody with a land
that.
issue that and possibly a grudge around that. But he is hard to reach.
Yeah, and I mean. Rex has had a colorful term. I mean,
right.
He's always been a lightning rod for some criticism, but the last 4 years he's made some verbal gaffes that have got him in some serious trouble.
But he made them before. It doesn't get him in trouble. It's a very conservative district, probably the most conservative of the 5 districts. And he's well loved by a lot of people, so his challengers definitely have an uphill battle. Never say never, but they have an uphill.
Exactly right. And then for third district, we have Mike Wilson, and this will be, do you know what term this will be for him?
He's been in for a while.
Third, I think.
Third.
And he represents, so the third district is Arcata, and from Manila to Arcata.
Right, some
and-
outskirts, yeah.
Yeah, and then the 1st district is south of Harris Avenue in Eureka, all the way to Ferndale. Is that right?
Actually past Ferndale up into the hills, Petrolia and Honeydew, which are like the only two precincts he routinely loses.
Yeah. And then the, what's the other one? The 2nd district is everything
Garberville to
south.
Fortuna.
Yeah, and it's famously, I mean, it's interesting how they break it down, but they're all sort of categorized by their political leanings. The 3rd district is known for being sort of liberal. There was John Woolley back in the day, and he, and then West Chesbrough before that.
Right.
A lot of folks who have been sort of fighters for
The 2nd district is a mixed bag. You've got Fortuna, which is sort of conservative, although becoming less so as more people move there that don't fit the old profile.
Yeah.
And then you've got Southern Humboldt, which is kind of hippie, liberal, but with kind of some libertarian
Exactly
strains
right.
that make the politics very interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how it all changes too. Like Eureka is another one that's been shifting over time. It was more conservative years ago, and it's slowly becoming more and more liberal. And maybe it's just the new populations that are arriving, or what. But the city council now has been reliably.
Well, I can tell you that the white students are no longer over 50% in the Eureka school system. They may
Wow.
have something to do with it.
I went to Eureka High, and that was not the case in
That's right.
1984. I mean, we
Yeah.
had maybe, honestly, less than 10 African Americans in the whole class. Not mentioning, there's other, ethnicities.
When I was driving my kids there a few years ago, it reminded me of San Francisco district schools.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very interesting.
Diversity.
Yeah.
And I noticed that also about Humboldt. Cal Poly Humboldt has attracted a lot more diverse students over the
Yes.
last few years,
Yep.
and that's really noticeable too. And I think that's great for Humboldt County.
I think so too.
We've been stuck in the Stone Ages forever in that regard. Now, one thing I'm not particularly experienced on, but I think that you probably are the judgeships. There's the Superior County Judge Department 1. We have April Van Dyke and Gregory J. Kreis. Okay. Can you give us a sense of who these people are? And primarily for folks, why does voting for a judgeship matter? What difference does it make?
Well, it's really hard to vote for to run as a judge, right? You can't say, if I elected, I am going to do this. You can only promise to be neutral, actually, as the cases come to you. And you never know what case is going to come to you, so you can't make a promise even if you wanted to, because you have no idea. So it's a difficult one. A lot of times it's about temperament, it's about what their record is, and of course April Van Dyke doesn't have any record as a judge. She was a public defender, and it probably expresses more progressive views than her opponent, but I wouldn't necessarily try to categorize it, left, right on this. Elvin Kreis, Judge Kreis, does have a little bit of a baggage issue because of an incident that led to a lawsuit that just recently settled. We don't know what happened in it. They've never had a chance to actually sort out the facts, but he was accused of getting a little bit drunk at an attorney party in Lake Trinity, making some derogatory comments and throwing somebody into the lake. There are different stories about what happened, and apparently the parties are not supposed to talk about what happened there.
So sealed or whatever.
Right, so it's raised a few questions about that, and I imagine that will probably be a focus of the campaign. But again, it's really, it's different than running from any other office. A lot of states don't elect judges, right?
Yeah. It's an interesting theory. I mean, it's like being a judge should not be a popularity contest, but at the same time, it's also good for people to have a say in who's dispensing justice.
Right.
But you mentioned that April Van Dyke is not a judge now, and she's a defense attorney. Is that a common formulation where someone goes from being a criminal defense attorney to being a judge, or is it usually prosecution? Is there any?
More often than not, it's prosecution, because they tend to be popular for different reasons. A public defender, if they're doing their job, is probably not going to be popular, right? Because they've gotten people off that are at least perceived to be criminals.
Which is problematic in itself. I mean, how many true crime documentaries have I watched where it's like the media comes out and basically convicts somebody of a crime, and then come to find out later on it was actually some other thing and no one had it right. So we can all learn that lesson. Now, I'll get back to it later on, but we have key debates coming up later on this election cycle, and we'll talk more about that toward the end, but look for that. And we have a contentious measure coming up. And this is probably the hottest button issue on the ballot for local voters. It's Measure A. Do you want to talk a little bit about what Measure A proposes? Or?
Yeah, and I wouldn't even be able to explain everything of what's in it in the time that we have for this, which is part of the problem for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I would say that for folks at home, we have 2 videos on our YouTube channel that are taking the both pro and the con arguments from that. So if you want more information on Measure A, you can go back and watch those episodes. You'll probably learn a lot. But from what I understand, basically, it would revamp the way that the county has been doing a lot of its cannabis regulations.
Yes,
right?
with different details all across the board. The opponents say, look, this is the type of thing that needs to be done in a legislative setting where you bring all the interest groups to the table and you sort out the policy based on that, rather than having one agenda be addressed in all of this complex policy. The proponents have said, well, yeah, but they're not doing it. They're not doing their job. That's why initiatives happen when the legislative body, in this case the Board of Supervisors, just don't take it up.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one, and you're locked with whatever you have. You can't even change it without a separate ballot initiative. You can't see that whether something works and something doesn't. No, you can't tinker with it.
It's an interesting argument too, because the pro cannabis side, I guess you'd say, says that it could be absolutely horrific for the local cannabis industry if this passes. Whereas the proponents are saying that there's legions of folks out there who have been negatively impacted by large, sort of unregulated or underregulated grows that are bringing negative impacts into their neighborhoods. The county, who is, I guess you could say, is sort of a third party in this, although they definitely have a vested interest. They point to the process that's been ongoing since 2014 or something, where the law currently on the books is the second iteration of the rules that they put together for the
Cannabis 2.0, they're calling it.
For the regulation. And if this passes, it would throw all of that work, all of those public hearings, all the testimony, all the efforts to balance different interest groups, and it would throw it all out the window, and it would be a total loss. And the county and the supervisors and some people on the other side are arguing that all because the people who are proposing Measure A had particular issues with people near their own homes, which there's a process in place for that, and maybe this isn't the appropriate place.
Well, it's just, that's the thing. I've sort of felt like the essentials of a ballot measure should be readable in 1 or 2 pages at the most. The rest can be boilerplate and the rest, but this one is not. It is very cumbersome. It reminds me of Prop 24, the one about internet privacy, which is still up in the air as to what it's doing, and it's been in effect a few years. That's the problem with it. But again, if the majority of voters feel like the board has not done its job, they're going to pass it. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know where the public is.
And it's interesting because this is such a central part now of the Humboldt County economy, and it's central to the plans for whatever future economy we're going to have in Humboldt County. And so, unless we thoroughly understand the implications of what we're voting for, maybe we should be a little bit cautious. I know that when I was working at the Times-Standard, we formulated a editorial board decision where we were basically saying, we're going to take positions on given initiatives, but you really should be conservative in which initiatives you vote for and support, because it's hard to know, like you were saying, what the long-term impacts are going to be. You can look at Proposition 13 and the Educational Revenue Augmentation Fund from back in the day, and it can just snowball, hamstring the state leaders, or in this case, county leaders. And then there's no way to ultimately fix whatever damage you cause.
Yeah, it's different from, for instance, we'll talk in a minute about Proposition 1, where that's a bond issue. It's got specific things that it wants to fund, change the nature of the mental health system, it actually renames it, and the rest. And so that is got a focus, and you can really understand what's going to happen. They're going to spend money on this. It'll either work or it won't. And we can talk about that. But Measure A is a lot more involved.
And it's hard to know ultimately what the long-term impacts are going to be. And I don't see an army of people coming out in favor of it. That's one thing I will say. There hasn't been a whole lot of ground-swelling interest.
Have not seen it. The environmental groups want to stay out of it. They don't endorse one way or another. And the other groups seem to think, that there doesn't seem to be support for it. But we don't know. There can always, we've seen elections where polls and everything, and of course you can't really poll a county. It's too small to really be able to effectively do it. But But by the indications, if you look at social media and the rest, it probably won't pass, but I never say never.
Yeah, after 2016, I learned my lesson there. Don't prognosticate because I have no idea. And I can't even play that game anymore. Now, interestingly, we also, State Assemblyman Jim Wood is retiring.
Retiring, and kind of like when we'd had a redistricting and Thompson was moved into another district.
Yeah, and we got Huffman.
And we got Huffman out of, I think it was about a dozen people at first, right? Because we have this, what they call the jungle primary, where everybody runs and the top two then run against each other in November. And we've got a slew of candidates.
We do, and I'll run through their names real quick. I don't know much about any of them, and we'll probably cover it more as we get on, or at least when we narrow it down the field a little bit.
Right.
But Cynthia Glick is a Democrat in the race, Michael Greer, a Republican, Rusty Hicks is the chair of the Democratic Party, a Humboldt County resident, and seems to be the favorite.
I would say he's certainly the mainstream choice. Assembly Member Wood has endorsed
him. Now, interestingly, like we mentioned before, there has been some controversy because he is the head of the Democratic Party in the state, and he hasn't stepped down despite some calls for him to do so, stating that there is an appearance of a conflict of interest, right?
Right, because Mr. Hicks is saying that there isn't an actual conflict of interest, and there may not if they follow the rules and don't use the apparatus of the Democratic Party to favor him. But you're supposed to avoid not just actual conflict of interest, but even the appearance of it. And the appearance of it is making a lot of people uneasy.
Yeah, and he's the head of the Democratic Party. So you'd think that in a race that's looking for a Democratic position, you might,
Right.
But I mean, he's so far he's decided that that's not necessary. We also have Ariel Kelly for the Democratic side, Frankie Myers.
Frankie Myers from the Yurok tribe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ariel Kelly he is the mayor of Healdsburg.
Yep.
From down south.
Chris Rogers is a Democrat city councilor from Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
And then Ted Williams, not the baseball player, is a Mendocino County supervisor.
Right.
So that is a, what do you call it, a cage match in the Thunderdome to see who can
a lot of Democrats, one Republican. Will the Republican generate enough just to grab that second
Well, that's a good
spot?
point. Yeah, absolutely. That maybe we'll split the Democratic vote and the Republican might end up in the seat there. We've got 5 minutes left. We're going through these things. But Prop 1.
Prop 1 is very interesting. As I said, it redefines the mental health. It actually goes into behavioral health.
Yeah.
It is finally trying to address homelessness in the sense that homeless or houseless people need houses. But it's not just building boxes to stick them in.
Yeah.
It's also working up treatment centers, not just mental health, but substance
abuse
problem,
which is,
addiction.
I mean, I would argue that is mental health, but yeah,
right.
Difference. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're taking a European approach here. And it not only does it dedicate like over $6 billion to the construction of facilities to meet this purpose, but also it guarantees that 30% of the budget of the system will go towards housing one way or another, not necessarily houses, but towards orienting people to get them off the streets, because as we know, houselessness has become a problem across the state, bigger, and they come from other states to be here. So we've got it, disproportionately. I can tell you when I was at the Democratic convention that there were firefighter groups and rescue first responders who were excited about this.
Yeah, they're supporting it. The firefighters are supporting it, and that's an interesting thing because they're out there in the streets, at least with a lot of like with addiction issues. They're dispensing Narcan and trying to help people out.
And they'd like to be able to get on the phone and say, hey, we've got this particular issue here. Can you come help us address it?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, people who are against it say it's a governmental overreach and that it will take away local control of funding and mandate a lot of spending on behalf of local governments. Is that right?
Yes, and of course you've got the tax posse as usual. But,
yes,
but again, it's not working. Right, we know it's not working. This is a big attempt where a lot of experts are saying this may be something that strongly mitigates homelessness. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out. I expect it'll pass.
I mean, it is time for a moonshot on homelessness in California and Humboldt County, too.
All right, we're running out of time, though.
Yeah,
right?
so we got 3 minutes left. The presidential election and also Congress.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm like, after having gone through the last 7 years, I can't believe that Donald Trump's even in a position to be anywhere near a vote for the White House. No matter what you think of Joe Biden, Donald Trump is like, I don't know how people could consider voting for him.
I don't know.
Do you think he has an actual chance?
I do think he has an actual chance. I think he has an unlikely chance. I'd give him a 30-35% chance. He is polling well, but he was polling even better at this time last time around. Right?
Yeah.
It's the independents tend to break away from him now because of the chaos it represents. They may not be happy with Joe Biden because the price of meat is still too high. But if that
you mentioned that, the price of meat, and those are the actual things that make a difference. Gasoline, inflation, like you're saying, the price of meat. I mean,
right. Even though all the indicators are objectively show the economy as well. When people walk into a store, they pay it, but because they can afford it, but they get angry. And so I don't know what a president could do about that. I think the president has probably done everything he can, but that's the point, is that's what might hurt him. Also, if he has a senior moment, that could hurt him. The age has become an issue.
But I noticed for both candidates.
But I do notice a recent poll that said actually for the first time, seniors over 65 are supporting Biden, possibly because of the ageist attacks on him, and possibly other reasons about chaos and the stock market benefiting their retirement.
Well, and then when you look at the evidence in terms of the state of the nation, it's hard to not say we're better off than we were 4 years ago, and that things have stabilized. Whether or not you want to credit Joe Biden for all of that. Changing horses when we're actually on a path to a little bit of stability may not be the wisest.
Left-wingers bristle at this, by the way, but it's possible that he may be campaigning like Eugene Debs from jail.
I know. Yeah, that'll be an interesting thing because as the prosecutions are going. We've got 45 seconds left. Real quick, are the Democrats going to win back the House, or are the Republicans going to hold on to their 3-member or 4-member majority or whatever it is? Right,
especially with the way things are going, the Democrats are going to win back the House, 50-50 on the Senate. The Democrats need an inside straight, but it's very possible that they can hold on in Montana and Ohio. Sherrod Brown has been shown they've been writing his epitaph for years, his political epitaph, but he keeps winning them. They could maintain their 50. Plus, Cruz is in trouble in Texas in a recent poll.
Oh, man, that Texas race, it's always dangled there, but we never quite get there. We're always a few percentage points off. Well, I appreciate you coming down again, Eric, and I'm sure we'll have you again before the November election.
Which will have a lot more propositions to discuss.
I'm sure we will. And before we go, we want to look at the graphic to see what we've got coming up. League of Women Voters Candidate Forums, Humboldt County Board of Supervisors District 1 will be on February 5th at 7 p.m. Humboldt County Board of Supervisors District 2 will be on the 7th of February at 7, and District 3 will be February 12th at 7 p.m. I believe they're all an hour, but I may be wrong about that. But those are always very informative and a great way to figure out who in the crowd you want to vote for. So once again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Stay informed.